Hey everyone, welcome to another round of Canje Does Something. Right? It's Saturday. So I have with me Bryan, who's over here. So hello. And we are going to be painting. Bryan has given me no end of grief on me not painting for a very long time. But I told him I would start back when Primal delivered, and so Primal delivered. Finally. Welcome, Bryan. Welcome, welcome. All right.
Yes, well, all of your pain and suffering is your own fault.
It might be a smidge self inflicted. Hey Matt, what's going on? All right, so we're gonna paint today. Uh, I know that co-op chat was supposed to happen, but it was canceled for today. So, and I was gonna paint anyway. So I was like, let's stream and paint, and I can try to not. You can see how bad I am at painting these. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say thanks to my patrons, YouTube subscribers. If you're not just coming in to hang out, it's gonna be fun. Okay, let's get down to the table and paint stuff. Right? That's what we want to do. We're here to paint. We're here to do things.
Do you remember how?
No. What is this thing? Is this a? It's called a brush. A brush. Is that what I use this for? So we are going to
Yeah,
be.
I'm using it for your teeth while in the interim.
Oh, which one?
The brush, getting confused between a toothbrush and a paintbrush. You know, it's the kind of thing that can happen.
Funny, funny, funny. Roll dice to select color. So this is Vyraxen. I figure he's kind of like a mix between a bat and a wyvern of some sort. So I've slop chop painted him. So basically that means that I airbrush him. Funny enough, Bryan, my airbrush didn't work. I had to take it all apart, clean it, and then put it all back together because all the paint had congealed from me not painting so long. So once I did that, once I took the whole thing apart and put it back together, it worked. So I air sprayed it black, and then I dry brushed it gray. I use ash gray, and then I dry brush it again white. And that gives it this look of kind of getting the deep shadows once we start adding paint to it. So it gives the washed look without washing, more or less. So as we add on, you'll just see I don't have to put, I won't splatter this thing with Nuln Oil because of this and the speed paints that we're going to use. So, yay. Bryan, what are you painting today? Let me zoom in here. What you got going?
You.
More of me. More of me. Funny enough, those are the color of the pants I have on right now. So it does track.
He's been on hold until we were painting again. So I want to get him finished because he's taking up space on the shelf.
And it's all those dice are 20s, right? They're nat 20s.
I'm sure there's a nat 20 on the dice somewhere, but
Not there, not there. That looks like Steve Urkel. Yep, that tracks. That tracks. So, let's go here. So Vyraxen, my painting supply is gonna try to make him look like this. So I'll be using speed paints. I'm probably gonna be mixing a lot of paints. For him, there's not too much blending that needs to happen. I noticed that there's some areas here, like his wings are kind of that weird leathery light color, and then he's by and large reddish, dark gray, reddish gray. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to do that with highlights of red. Not red, sorry, yellow for just kind of the crackles and things that are going on. I have not painted in forever. So I am going to do a lot of mix work. So I'm for my speed paint for him for that red. I'm going to use Slaughter Red, but I'm going to add a blinding light as just a couple drops, and I'm considering blending in one drop of this murder scene, right? To just try to get that type of hue. But I'm going to be starting with these two just to see what it is, and if these colors aren't really working for me, I will add a drop of that in to see how it goes. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous about this right
isn't that tomorrow evening?
now. Which?
Arkham Horror.
Yes, and this will be the slaughter that occurs of it. So we'll see. So slaughter red, and I'll do like a drop of blinding light, drop or two of blinding light to set in there. And these are part of the Speed Paint 2.0 sets that it says on there. I have both the original ones that came out, plus the 2.0s. And if they release another one, I don't know if I will buy it because I don't know if I have the space. Says the person in the back on the other side of me with the backdrop of paint. Slaughter light. Yeah, so this will be what is. I haven't used these in a while, but they look like they still work. The one
They probably need a minute of shaking each if you haven't used them in a while.
Yeah, I this one came out okay. I shook them up. I was shaking them up while I was setting up the stream and whatnot. So they've been shook up pretty well. But what was interesting is that the Turbo Dork paints that I have, they've all turned to water. So
all of the, that's because all the gel that's based on them is going to be sat at the bottom from where they've stood. So they take a minute or two of really mad shaking just to really get everything, preferably with a couple of agitation balls inside.
oh, okay. I'll have to just keep shaking them then, because I shook them up for about a minute, but then when I tried to push it out, just water. So for people who haven't painted in forever, yeah, that's a thing. Hey Matthew, what's going on? All
Well,
right.
let's take it. You disappeared, and it was like the Phantom Canje. Then we had Attack of the Grey Plastic, and now we've got Revenge of the Paint.
So we're having a full movie here. All right, so let's try this.
And it's a bad movie at that.
You mean a great movie? The best.
No, there's only 3 good movies in that entire lot, and it wasn't those 3.
It wasn't those. So let's see. It's not too bad. Oh, you can't see it there. There it is. I'm not going to be able to hold it like that because I need to bend it and turn it for what I need to do. But I want to just try on this color just to kind of see how it shakes out. It's not too bad on there. Looks like it'll blend in pretty nicely. It won't go that hard red that I want. Let me try to add. I'm going to just be adventurous. I'm being adventurous, people. I'm going to add in 1 drop of this. Maybe 2. And stir that up. Ooh, that's a nice color. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do nicely. All right. Yeah, so let me start. Yeah, that's a better color. I was right. I haven't lost it. Not totally.
This was a long time ago.
You just miss torturing me. That's all that is. So yeah, we're gonna paint a happy little bush over here.
Everyone's got to have a hobby. Mine just happens to be Canje torturing.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared for your other bud to join because that'll be 2 of you at once. I don't know if I can handle it.
Oh, we're getting buds. When's this? And who's the bud?
What's his name? Statler. Statler's gonna if he joins.
No, I can't see Dan having shown up yet.
So it's looking pretty decent. Usually when you put these on, it's like, oh, that looks like way too much. It's not that bad. When it dries, you see it just kind of really soak in. So I think it'll come out pretty decently. But yeah, that's the bit. And the whole tail's gonna be red, save for the spikes. So let's go ahead and get that tail painted. I'm gonna paint a happy tail.
Happy little tail.
Yeah, so I waited for this one to come in. It's been a long time coming. I know they did early delivery, but I think like I was talking with Colin, and he and Barrett got theirs. So did Dan off of the first wave of delivery, and this is more towards the end of delivery. This is the last wave because the main has come in, like the final ship. Well, one of the final ships have come in, so people who've been waiting a long time are going to now start to receive their Primal deliveries, which is, yeah, there's other games to play, but I was like, I was building up to this paint, and I was telling Bryan about it because um, there's a lot of blending in some of these monsters, and at the time, I think I was getting ready to say, okay, I'm ready to start understanding blending. But now, since it's been forever since I've painted, um, yeah, you get my meaning. I'm gonna be learning blending and relearning painting, so good times.
I'm going to be enjoying it all thoroughly.
So it ought to be good. It ought to be good.
I'm amazed you could separate yourself from your computer.
I've moved far enough ahead of Cynthia that I'm okay.
Yeah, I did suggest that just because you're doing that, she should perhaps organise for your character to get killed tomorrow night. But she made the point that that'll happen anyway. So what's the point of doing it?
Gee, the faith that y'all have in me is just,
We have utter faith in you. It's
that
just
I'll die.
what's the question?
I did all right. I didn't die last Sunday. We were very successful. We stopped the house demon. So, yeah. We did well. I already did a quick, just kind of reintroducing myself by painting the heroes. I painted them already. Let's see, where are they? Yeah, here's one of them here. And I painted this base just kind of that metallic silver, so he's done. I've done all of them, but I did them just kind of thrown together just to see how rusty I was. I'm pretty rusty.
I'll see the shipwreck.
Oh.
Cynthia just said I could be nice. We've been married for 15 years. You'd think she'd know me by now.
Yeah, so I'm assuming she's playing Yuden right now.
Yeah.
You
Well, she's
just
got to take the chance to try and catch up.
Yeah, agreed, Yogi. You just wing it and live with whatever happens, and that will be that. I think the best mini I feel like I've done so far was the one for um goodness, I had Osworn. There was like a goat creature. I really loved how that mini turned out. That made me feel kind of proud of myself.
I don't have any of my recent ones up here. They're all downstairs. Sweetheart, can you grab me my favourite of your favourite of my minis? Can you grab me your favourite of my minis? Thank you. You missed the "it's horrible, don't show that on stream" part.
And she was painting two at a time. Cynthia was painting two with us at one time.
We're hoping to get her back. There is a discussion going on over which of us is painting her Mythwind minis.
Those are really good ones too. Hey, Kate. Yeah, those are really good ones as well. So, Yeah, so as you can see, it's looking dark. So you're like, it looks too dark. But once this soaks in, it doesn't look that. It actually looks pretty good. Um, that's what I was worried about one of the characters I colored in, where I was like, that looks too dark. But after it dried, it lightened up and it looked pretty good.
I'm sorry, internet world.
Oh, are you holding up? Let me switch over if you're gonna do it. Hold on. There we go. There you go. Oh, that looks so good.
Horrible.
That looks so good. That looks incredible. Gross. I love it. Did you do any blending on that, or like with those? It's like the pus sores on the back and blending it into the body, or
That's
no?
paint, not the Army Painter version. It's mainly the Vallejo version. But besides the eyes, that's mostly speed paint. That was done in less than half an hour.
Oh wow, that looks really good.
Yeah, I'm more than a little happy with that one.
Did you finish Tiamat already?
Yeah, she's downstairs somewhere.
Oh, okay. All right.
I thought I'd already shown them on one stream.
Yeah, you show. It's also on your your Instagram too.
I can bring.
That's okay. The other one that I've been
Oh,
is a work in progress. It's this one.
wow, that looks really good. Holy crap! All right, so I'm done painting. That looks really. I like that. That looks really good.
His rider hasn't been started yet.
And this, children, is what happens if you don't stop painting minis and keep going. One day you endeavor to be able to paint like Bryan.
I have been provided with the dragon.
Oh, yep, let me do it. Boop. That looks awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm going back to the proving ground.
Good luck.
Don't die too many times. Kate, is if he eventually gets good at it in the same way he's eventually getting good at rolling dice?
Ooh. E. Yikes. And for people who haven't that's tomorrow, Bryan. And for people who are thinking of getting into painting, don't be scared to just dive into it. I was for a very long time. I say that on the other side of it. Well, sort of on the other side of it, but
Back into the middle.
yeah, I was for a long time. I was like, I'm seeing all these people do all this great work, and I suck. I'm not gonna be good. And Bryan was very helpful in terms of he's just like, just pick something and start painting. If you mess up, so what? What's the worst that's gonna happen? You paint over it, so just don't sweat it too much.
And anything's better than grey plastic.
Is that true?
I know I'm talking to grey plastic man here, but with occasional blue plastic just for a bit of change.
Yeah, that's it. I maybe if I prime them red, would that be better than gray? And they're just all be red.
To be fair, if you primed them black and then just did the basic 2 dry brushes, it would be far better than grey.
You heard it here, so I can do that and get away from it. He said it was okay.
No, I said it was better than grey. Saying it's okay is like saying you're just an information broker.
I am. So it's truth. It's truth what we're talking
Not
about. I am but a mere humble information broker.
You are the Shaft of information brokers.
I'll take that title.
And he wasn't an information broker.
Yeah, there's a lot of red on this creature. I thought I'd be hitting up the tummy and all that by now and the wings, but the wings I'm a little nervous about. So I have an idea for how I might make those work, but if it goes awry, it could look like crap. So I'm a little bit nervous about the wings, but we'll try it out and see what happens.
Your wings should be fine. You just need to possibly water it down a bit and put a couple of layers on rather than doing it all straight with that paint, depending on how thick it's coming through. That way you'll be able to control how much black you can see.
Yeah.
And how much goes over the black to bring out the highlights. Because you do want those highlights to pop on the wings.
Yeah, I was gonna do a mix of Crusader skin and Bony Matter speed paint on those, but I could try to see if I can just kind of thin it a little bit.
A drop of water. I've been doing that in my speed paint. It works fine.
Okay.
If you've got the speed paint medium, even better. But 1 drop of water won't make much difference.
Cool. Now that my errand girl duties are back to you, then. Yeah. I've been pretty heavy playing a Yuden Chronicles. It's a very, very fun game. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, see, as it's drying, it's getting that. I probably might brush it a little bit with something, but right now I'm happy with that darkish red. Like, I like how that looks.
No, I've been actually doing quite a lot of speed painting because for some of Cynthia's colleagues, I've been running a D&D session, and I want all of the monsters.
Did you?
Have
you killed them all yet?
Nope. That's next session.
Yeah, this is coming out pretty decent. I'm not mad at this. I'm sure there are people, and I always say this, but it's always at the back of my mind, and it will be for anyone who is just starting out. It's like, yeah, but other people do it better. Well, so what?
But other people also started somewhere.
Yeah.
Even the late great Bob Ross had to pick up a brush for the first time at some point. A point before Happy Little Trees.
So we've got one leg. There's a lot of red on this thing. The more than I thought, because I still haven't done. I have to dry brush the fiery area here, but I'm still gonna do it kind of like half red, half that underbellied wing color. The top half of it here is going to be more of a grayish color, especially the spines that are going around that we'll get to. So it's pretty much, this monster to me is pretty much 4 palettes, I guess, that are on there. And we're just having to go through and paint them all. But the minis are exquisite, though. I definitely put them on par with Oathsworn minis. Not the hero minis at all. Oathsworn minis, hero minis are by far better. But the bosses, the monsters that you fight, these ones, I put them on par. This thing looks incredible. I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can make it. Will it? Yeah, there you go. I mean, the detail on the wings themselves, you see that the dry brushing actually really brought them out, but it just looks so good. So, good for you, Reggie Games. This is a really exquisite one. The other minis look great as well, but you won't see those until. And I'm painting this in preparation for the beginning of the playthrough. So right now I'm playing Aeon's End Legacy, And once we finish that, we'll be starting Primal. So, let's see, we have the final mission of Aeon's End Legacy next Thursday, which means the Thursday after, we'll be starting Primal. And that one will be live. Pac-Man's actually going to come to my house, and we'll be doing that live to play through. Yeah, there's also always someone better. Yeah. Yeah, I've gone on so I've been watching a lot of shoot, I shouldn't have done this. Here's the perfect example of a mess up. So what do you do about it? You rip off a piece of tissue paper, dip it with water, and then rub it off. Just wipe that thing off. Boom. Problem solved. I did not want to get the bottom of the feet red. And there you go, you wipe it off. And with speed paints, it's actually a lot easier to do that because it'll reactivate the paint, and then the water will reactivate the paint, and then it'll come right off.
Yeah, quick, it's fine with most kinds of paint, to be honest.
Oh, really?
And the other trick is, as you've got an airbrush, so you can put layers on without there being much of a headache. Put on a really thin varnish layer, and that locks everything you've done in place and kind of gives you a save point that you can wipe off to. And as long as you're not too crazy with your wiping off, it should stop at the point where you varnished. The other trick with that is if you're going to do a wash and you really want it to flow really, really well, put on a gloss varnish, and the gloss will help it because the paint won't stick to it as well.
Oh, okay.
You want paint to stick, do a matte varnish. So I make sure my undercoat is very matte so that anything I'm putting on top will stick well.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, if y'all haven't noticed, my hands shake a ton. They really do. So you can see, like, if I'm holding them in, you see it shaking. So I know Bryan did a video on this on his, but in terms of holding your hand steady. So usually I find a part that isn't painted, like this back wing. So if I didn't have that back wing, it'll be shaking constantly. So I actually let that touch the mat slightly, and then I base my hand.
Is get a paint holder, get a handle underneath so you've got something better to grip. You're not holding that in a way that's going to do well for not shaking.
Yeah.
With the way your hand spread, you've got lots of movement, whereas if you've got a handle, you've got something you can brace against far better.
Yeah, that's for the smaller ones, because something this size, of course, you know, you don't have one of those. So, but yeah, definitely.
If you need to, use a can, drinks can.
Oh, and then just stick it to the bottom? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sticky tack, and it'll stick. I mean, I wouldn't go generally quite as large as a drinks can. I would try and find something a bit smaller, just to make it easier to maneuver in your hand. So I've got a slightly larger handle.
Oh, let me zoom into that.
I use for bigger minis.
Is that magnets?
Yeah.
So do you magnetize all the minis?
Oh, let's go back to our friend the frog.
Oh.
The low denomination coinage in the UK actually is a ferrous metal.
Oh, okay. So you just use one. So like use a penny or something.
Some of the American coinage.
Yeah.
So it would cost me about 10 pence per mini, even for the small smaller ones to get something that would do that job as well.
Mm-hmm.
Coin, it's a 1 penny coin. So I just went to the bank and said, give me 300.
So just use pennies and then magnetize. Smart. Oh, that's a. I did not think of that.
And the other thing it then does is if you glue the coin to the base of your mini, it gives you some weight in your mini so that when you're moving it, it's actually got some bulk to it, and less likely to be knocked over.
Yeah,
And that's how I started with it. I actually started off with the coins, just putting them in for weight. And then I had a magnet, and it stuck to the magnet, and I thought, oh, hang on. Because that means I can just do that and pop it back on really easily.
brilliant. That actually is really smart. I did not think of that at all. That is pretty cool. Yep.
Well, occasionally, if you think of things outside of board games, you can have bright ideas.
I don't understand what you're saying right now. You're talking nonsense. I don't follow. What are you saying to me right now? Think of stuff outside of what? No.
Yeah. Matthew, bracing, so finding a good surface to brace yourself against, so this desk is rock solid. Then, if you're putting your hands together, you've then got a good chance to get a grip, so you're not going to move that much if you see the way my hands are holding it.
Here we go. Boop. Go for it.
What you can't see with this camera is the fact that both of my wrists are flat against my desk. So you can see my hands are together, my wrists are together to brace, and then they're flat against the desk, and that gives me a really stable platform to work. When I'm doing really crazy things like trying to do detailed eyes. Because some of the minis I've got are getting so detailed now, it's terrifying.
The Mithwin ones are pretty decent size though, that you can detail them pretty well, you know, without having to have Bryan's ultra zoom 10 billion zoom in camera. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. Sorry.
And
that looks incredible, though.
Turn around over. You can see the eyes. But yeah, a lot of work still to go into her. But
is that one that you made?
No, it's one I printed. It's not one I made. I wish.
No, there was one that you. I meant in Hero Forge. There's a lot of minis that you've been kind of putting together and making, designing, should I say?
That's your one I did in Hero Forge.
Okay.
I think most of the ones I've done in Hero Forge again they all went downstairs to be played with.
And you've all the ones that you've put on your Instagram, you've printed already?
Anything. Not every Hero Forge mini gets printed. A lot of them get used as electronic tokens for playing online.
Oh, okay.
I did go to a mad downloading from Instagram because you can only keep 2 years worth of credits available at one point in time, and I hit year 3. So I went through and had to use up any spare credit.
Ah, gotcha.
But my my current main to be painted, besides the ones that have already been seen, is all of that lot.
Oh, hold
on. Which are a whole load of the minis, the characters from Sword and Sorcery. So that's my shelf to do.
See? It's just like board gaming, shelf of opportunity.
Oh no, I've got another one of those. That's the immediate to-do list, not the new shelves and ridiculous amount of hard drive space of opportunity.
The hard drive space of opportunity, yeah.
The advantage with 3D printing your own minis is that's what it comes down to. It's storage space. It's not anything else. So, and I've probably got somewhere in the region of 100 gig.
Wow. How big are the files? Well, how big are the files each first?
I've got thousands. I've got a subscription that comes in twice a month. Before you get to the Hero Forge and before you get to all the other free stuff or stuff I see and go, oh, I'll sign up for that.
Gotcha.
Most of it's minis, some are props.
Yeah, this thing has a lot of red on it. So, we'll see how it goes. And like I said, I'm bracing the mini on the table. I'm bracing my hand on the table, like right here. I'm bracing my hand on my hand and the mini on the table so that I don't shake this thing to death. Because these are fine points that I'm doing. For some people, like if it's, if you're old like me and your eyesight is terrible, there are magnifying glass that you can get for painting minis. So those are available.
I wouldn't go for a magnifying glass. I've got a magnifying lens. It doesn't cost you much more, if any.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant the same thing. But yes, something that sits on your table.
Putting the lens over the glasses is you can use both eyes at the same time, and most of the glasses type ones you can't, so you don't get stereoscopic vision. So you can never tell how far away your brush is from your mini until it goes splodge.
Until you touch it, yeah. That's true.
It was the other headache with trying to use a camera to enhance it and then to paint from what the camera sees.
Is that more like what you're talking about, like jeweler's lenses?
Yeah. But you'll see a lot of painters use them, and you'll see a lot of them sold for that kind of purpose. Jeweler's lenses.
See me bracing my hand here. And these are the finer details of things that. And the other good thing about painting on something first is that when you mess up, guess what? You get to paint over it.
I'm having to go back and redo some of this because it's been on the shelf so long.
What?
To get some damage, so I'm having to repair some of that.
When you say damage, what do you mean?
I mean, well, the tip of his brush is gone for starters.
Oh, gotcha.
But some of the colours have been, because he hasn't been varnished, as he's been knocked about.
Oh, some of the colour scratched up. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm holding my hand sitting on the table as I paint this right now. So my hands don't shake, so I can keep it as steady as possible. So for people who are like, well, how are you painting this? Your hands would be shaking all over the place. Like Bryan showed just a few minutes ago and how I'm showing now. Just kind of steadying my hand. Let's see. So, but it's coming along pretty well.
So how many minis have you got to paint?
All the bosses pretty much. Everything else is. I didn't get the terrain, but because I don't think it would matter on stream. like because I'm streaming it. Hey, look here. Here's this terrain that you only see the top of, so I'm just using the regular tokens. Um, but I believe I'll have to count how many bosses there are. There's quite a few, and I did all in. I got every boss. And I think there's 2 more heroes coming in wave 2 for me, because I've only gotten wave 1. But there's 2 other heroes coming in wave 2, as well as, I think, 4 more bosses, so... Alright, this is going to be tough. This is the hard part for me. So let's just get the part that won't mess, that if I mess up I don't mind.
Going back to what we were saying about lenses, one with a light built in, preferably a ring light that goes all the way round it rather than a single point of focus. If you can get one that's got a glass lens rather than that, then it depends on your eyesight. I've literally, this is the first time using my new upgraded one, which is now a 10 times lens. The last one was 5 times. Last time.
Are you saying you're getting older?
In the background from Cynthia, of course you're old.
Are you saying you're getting old? You have to increasing the power.
It's also got a nice little kind of mini lens in the side of it that's a 15 times. But no, that it does help a lot.
Yep.
The other one I had, the lens diameter was twice. So this is a 4-inch wide lens. The last one was 8-inch, which isn't too bad if you're just using it to paint. But if you're using it to stream, it's actually really hard to make sure that your mini's in the right pace all the time.
True. True.
A lot of space for it to move around.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to turn this to where y'all see what I'm touching up right now, but if I do that, I will not be able to get at the specific piece. Cynthia, if you're watching, I'm sitting here, and in my head, the battle music for Ayuden Chronicles is going because I've been playing it so much. The combat music. It's all the same for every combat except for boss fights, so every single time you get the fight, it's in your head.
She's deserted you for Ayuden Chronicles.
Oh, she's gone? Okay. Archmage Salamar. Minis of this size are intimidating. Painted the entirety of Descent, but still haven't opened up Oathsworn because there are some big minis. Yeah, the Oathsworn minis are big. These things can feel intimidating. But they're not. They're actually easier to paint for me. The bigger minis are easier to paint than regular minis because I have more surface area, right? I don't have to, Bryan was just talking about those lenses that you need to see things. On these bigger minis, I don't need those lenses because I can see it. It's a large mini. So it actually...
But the caveat on the lenses, that's if you're trying to do a 32mm mini to a quality that you can't see with normal eyesight, and you're trying to take photos.
Yeah, so to me, the bigger minis are probably the better ones to paint. They're a lot easier to paint for me. The smaller ones are hard. Especially, even with balancing, I still say shaky hands are still a thing when it comes to the smaller minis. Alright, how the hell am I going to do this? Let's see. Can I? Yeah, that should be dry by now. So you may, I don't know if you can see clearly enough on here what I'm doing, but when I paint the wings, these will really, you'll really see them. Hey Pickle, what's going on? Right. We're doing. Gonna paint a happy leathery wing. And I really wish, I wish there's a way to do kind of and Brian's gonna say there is completely, and there is, but I am too noob at this point to um, figure it. But it's just more getting a leathered look, but not a leathered look in a lighter color. Let me put it that way.
Dry brush.
What'd you say, dry brush?
Mm.
There's that.
And if you want the correct kind of texture to it, dry brush followed by an ink.
Yeah, and I don't even think, even when I was painting on the regular, I hadn't even started doing inking. But a lot of the work that you've shown me of yours, especially you did for Madara, when you inked those multicolored little bug thingies, that looked really good.
Inking is just a thin wash, but if you use an ink, it comes out satin more than a wash, which will be more matte. Also, inks tend to be very, very, very pigment dense, but you've got to get the right ink to do what you want.
You're talking? Well, say more about that. Like, what do you mean when you say get the right ink?
So, let's grab one of these. If you see on this bottle of ink, it's got the little box and the S, and the box is half black, half white, which in this case is actually meant to be half transparent, half non-transparent, semi-transparent. So you get 3 grades. You get transparent, you get semi-transparent, and you get opaque. And depending which, depends on how transparent it is. It's basically what it says on the tin. But you just, it's making sure you get the one, if you're wanting good coverage and you're not worried about transparency, then you want to be going for something more opaque. That's on proper artist inks. You sadly don't get that information on most game painters' inks, but you still get the same variation into how translucent it's going to be.
I gotcha.
You just have a way of telling in advance, which can be a bit annoying. The other thing is just always have a piece of paper or an old mini that you don't want to use,
and just do it on that.
and stick it on there to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And see what you want it to.
Yeah, this is looking good. And this.
Of course, now if we start doing this regularly, we've still got other friends we can bring in while we're doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm just reminding you, there was an offer if we book him in enough time from Paul.
I will be more than happy to have Paul on here. That would be amazing to have him on here. So we can set something up. I mean, like I said, I've got all these to paint. So this isn't ending anytime soon, and I'm assuming every single time we beat a creature, another one's gonna be ready to be painted. So I think we'll be good.
And the other trick is never be afraid to thin your paints a bit more and apply more than one layer if you need to.
Is that something that's might be a silly question, but is that something that's possible with speed paints? Because if you add another layer, doesn't it reactivate them?
No, I think speed paints 2 are supposed to solidify after an hour or two. They won't reactivate, unlike the speed paints 1.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Because, or again, if you've got an airbrush, put a layer of varnish over the top.
And then add to it. Yep, fair. That's fair.
It's an annoying. You're using speed paints to save time. Having to wait an hour to prevent it reactivating is a pain. Having to go away, put on a layer of varnish is a pain. It's one of the biggest issues with the Army Painter range of speed paints, because that's very specifically an Army Painter thing.
Okay.
But what I'm working with here is the Vallejo Express Color, which are their version of speed paints.
Show it again. Show it again. Sorry, I just zoomed into it.
Cool.
When did they release those?
They're on their second release now, so they've expanded the range of color.
Okay.
It's not as big as the Army Painter ones, and the ones with Army Painter that are supposed to be amazing are the metals.
Yes, I have those, and I love them. I do love them. The metal ones have worked out pretty well. Actually, that's what I painted this guy with. That was the Army Paint speed paint metals, and they came out really good.
What I believe they use is, whereas what most metals use is some mica in the mix to try and give it that shiny effect.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple that use powdered, to use the American terminology, aluminum.
Aluminium? Aluminium. The first time I heard someone say that, I was like, wait, what now?
Well, we understand that you struggle with the modern world and your particular connection. Then you may catch up with the rest of the known universe and go metric.
Here we go.
So no, but yeah, they actually put that in so you get a better metal. The only two I know that do it are one of the various, so the metal, not the metal color, the metal range from Vallejo.
Okay.
Of which I have a couple, and the Army Painter speed paint.
Yogi said the rest of the world just accepts that Americans are dumb. It's okay. We're not dumb. We're not dumb. We're just different. We're different. Accept us.
You're special.
We're different. Accept us. Here we go. And as you're painting, your fingers will hurt. Just you'll get used to it. It gets better over time.
I think my fingers don't hurt. My back hurts, but my fingers don't.
Oh, yeah, I've got myself set up to where I slouch a little whenever like I'm trying to really get into the detail of things. But by and large, I sit up straight.
It's one of the reasons that I changed over besides Cynthia buying a new desk so I could steal her old one. I've got a new desk so that I can be in a better position.
Oh, gotcha. Is it a desk from a specific company that sells furniture?
I love what we're hearing from the mats here.
Oh, what they say? We are the red. It's the face it, Derek. We ride the world's short bus. We do all right. We do all right. We've invented things, right? We've invented things that sometimes get stolen and passed off at someone else's work, but we invented things. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this until this thing dries. And I'm impatient, so I'm not going to wait.
And you did an amazing job when it came to hoaxing the moon landings.
Hoaxing? Yeah, that happened, my friend. First there.
I figured to a previous member of NASA that would just be kind of a flame to a candle.
Poking the bear. Yes, nope, that happened, my good people. There is proof at the Space Center. I have seen a moon rock.
You'll be trying to disparage the rest of your countrymen and say that the world's round or something.
Psst, who told you that? The world's flat, right? Oh my gosh. People, please don't take me serious. The world's round. I'm not a flat earther. They're idiots. I'm just being facetious.
No, the world is flat. The seas aren't carbonated.
Because the seas aren't carbonated, it's flat.
What that just means is we need to empty them and fill them with beer.
That would not be a bad thing. See, we agree on stuff. We align. There we go. And while you're disparaging America, my good sir, aren't you married to an American? Huh?
Yeah, but she's not listening.
She's not listening.
And to be fair, I disparage the UK just as much as I do America.
It's equal opportunity. Oh, look at that. Look at that, look at that, look at that. How's that looking, people? How's that looking? Not too shabby. Alright, let's get these powerful little flight muscles that you've got here.
No.
Oh man, that's a can of worms. We're actually on the moon. Yes.
Does that mean we can all go to Earth and there might be reasonable people there?
Nope. There's no reasonable people no matter where you go. You just have to lean into that.
I don't know. I don't think Canada or New Zealand are doing badly. But, yeah, that's about it.
Canada.
A friend did, when Cynthia and I got first together, tell Cynthia that she couldn't be American, she had to be Canadian. She was too nice to be an American.
Hey, I'm nice. I'm an American. There you go. The wings. Oh, Yogi. That's funny. That is hilarious. Damn it. Alright, there's more red on this guy than I thought. Did not expect this much.
Yogi, democracy is a terrible way to govern. It is, though, better than all the others.
The only reason why democracy fails is because you get people involved. You should know that. By itself, it works.
A bit like capitalism. No people involved, it works.
It works.
People...
Yeah, it works. You know, put some robots in charge, it'll be great.
Yeah, it looks like that might not be happening that far off. So.
Yeah, but people are coding it, so it'll be problematic. You have to have machines. You have to have machines making machines. We've seen this movie already, but you have to have machines making machines, and those machines will make other machines with the updated code that the machines write. Therefore, thereby removing the human, and then it'll work. Too long didn't read people suck. Yeah, you're not wrong there. As you can see, we're an optimistic bunch.
Well, as both of us are in election years.
Yeah, that's another can of worms I'm not going to touch. But yes. Well, not going to touch on stream. You and I can talk about that later. But yes.
Yeah, that wasn't let's talk about it. That was just
that was, hey, put a pin in that. We're going to talk about that later. Yes.
Well, it's not much better for us than you when you look at the UK government. I'm getting told off, but I'm trying to be less anti-American and say that other pictures peanut galleries going. At least your country isn't sending all of their refugees to Rwanda.
Oh boy. There we go. Okay. Are those wingtips red? They are red. Those are red as well. Everything on you is red, dag nabbit. Except for your stupid talons. There we go. Thanks, Derek. I come here to escape. You're voting for Bryan. Which Bryan? See there. Now you've set yourself up. Which Bryan you're gonna vote for?
I'm hoping no one would be stupid enough to vote for me. That would be the worst of all evils. I'd put Derek in charge of the economy.
I will bet it all on dice rolls.
That was kind of where I was coming from.
Put it all on dice rolls. Let it ride. How do we balance the budget? Have you tried rolling dice?
I think that's the logic our IT system team at work use when they're working out how they're going to make things work. Oh, we can let you do that or not. Let's roll the dice.
Yeah. It's the only way to do it. Just roll dice. What? I didn't hear what you said.
That's how I made my seating plan the other day.
Just roll dice. See what happens. What's the worst that could happen? Just roll some dice.
Yeah, you've demonstrated that on a regular basis, Derek.
It's the worst that can happen. YOLO. Roll dice. Derek's approach. Sure, my last 73 attempts have failed, but that's never it does to the 74 to exactly. Exactly.
There you go. That's a serious pair of sneakers for you there, Derek.
See. What do we got? It's more like my son's shoes. My son likes those colors, so he has shoes like that. Mine are usually pretty straightforward, but they look good. They look really good.
Straightforward? That's no fun.
Did Bryan do that? Do what? Did he paint that mini? Yeah, he's painting it right now. Did he print it? Yes. Did he create it? Yes. In Hero Forge. So, all yes to those questions. When will he switch off painting things red? My god, hopefully soon. Three hours later.
This is the only headache with some of the Hero Forge stuff.
Is what?
It's so... You've got so many layers. Things like bits of clothing are so thin that you suddenly look, so I'm trying to paint the bit on this chair, but of course you're sat on the chair, so it's how do I get to where I need to without splatting paint all over the rest of the mini?
Yeah, you had talked about that before where it came to like minis that come together, how it's better to I think you prefer to put them together because then you can get to those places.
But it's again there's kind of an art form to it, to putting them together, because once you've painted them, how can you put them together without, and then make sure you've covered up the gaps without making it obvious?
Good point. Yeah, so far I keep seeing like these one-off places that I'm missing, which is driving me bananas.
Welcome to the world of painting.
I'm like, ah.
Usually just after you've cleaned up and you haven't got that paint out anymore.
Yeah, which is why I keep turning this thing over and over to make sure that that doesn't happen, because once the speed paint dries up, I don't know if I can mix it exactly the same again. So I'm trying to make sure I catch everything before it dries up. I'm seeing like these little small areas that I've missed. And there we go. So these don't look half bad.
They don't look half bad. That means they look half good. Take the good part when you can.
Not too bad, not too bad. And I keep, as I said, I keep turning it because I keep seeing places where I missed. Grrr. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Tail's looking better. Yep, all that's good. Yep, because I need to swing out on the legs. Will it be the same as the wings? We've got a part of the back that is here that needs to get painted. But what do y'all think of it so far?
It's looking good.
Is it remotely decent? Let's get this side. Like getting in those recesses that are back there. Stupid three-dimensional objects. Alright, so get this. Go to there. Then parts of his face as well. Okay. What parts of your face are red, good sir? Is anybody else painting today while we're painting? Are you painting with us? Are you...
Yeah, class.
Yeah, that.
Naive to say with us.
Are they what?
I'm not naive enough to say laughing with us.
Oh, are you enjoying laughing at us? Yeah, but are y'all painting anything today as well? Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
Oh, what kind of bread, Matt? Oh no, since he's actually started watching now, means I ought to start, at least pretend to behave a little.
She said she's always watching?
No, she was saying, oh, she's been watching, she just hasn't been listening.
Oh, gotcha. That's fair.
And go,
That's fair.
used to that problem, so.
Using the air spray can, huh? I mean the air sprayer. You can hear the the machine.
That's an agitator. That's for mixing paint.
Oh, okay.
Something that you might do well with at the moment.
I'm doing fine. Whatever. And your front, your weird nosy thingies are outlined in red as well.
What are you waiting to arrive at the moment, then?
I'm having an interesting exchange with the post office right now. So, Union City Alliance is supposed to be delivering. However, I sent an email to the company, the developers last year, saying, "Hey, you have the wrong address. I can't switch it. Can you switch it?" And it must have gotten lost in the shuffle or something. So, um, they shipped it to my old address, and it's an address I haven't lived at for 5 years. And so I've been kind of back and forth with the post office because that they're always so helpful that I've been trying to get a package intercept going, but whenever I talk to a live person, they're saying that's the only way to do it is to do a package live intercept, and the package live intercept site doesn't work. It actually continues to experience issues and fail. So their response to me was, just keep trying until it works. Cool. So that is coming in. Leviathan Wilds will be arriving, and then at some point, the second wave of this, and if the stars shine upon all the backers of Darkest Dungeon, Wave 2 will deliver. If we've sacrificed the right amount of animals.
Is there a question as to whether it's going to deliver?
There's always a question as to when it's going to deliver, and there's a question as if we'll be asked to pay more money for the third time. And it's not a, hey, could you pay more money because we're struggling? It's, if you want your game, pay more money, or else we're going to sell it to somebody else.
Who's
the designer? Mythic. So those are what I am hoping to arrive soon. So we'll see how that shakes out. I know Kate and I talk about that a lot in terms of, we've been like, don't say anything or else they'll hear you and not deliver or charge us more money. At this point, I don't know. The first time they did it, they said, "Hey, we're not going to charge you any more money, but you're going to have to pay extra." So people paid. Then they were like, "Okay, well, we're going to charge you more money, or else we're going to sell your game to somebody." Their response was, "We will deliver you your game at some point." And so people paid the extortion money to get their game the second time. And once again, they said, "We will never ask you for more money." That's what they said the first time. So we'll see how that shakes out. Yeah, there we go. I think we are done. I think, my friends, we are done with red. And right as the paint started to dry out. Woohoo! Look at that. It's looking good. All right. Look at that. I had enough red paint, and that was good. Okay. So the next part of this, and I'll pull the picture over so you can see for people who are still here checking it out. I gotta make sure I get all the paint off here. Alright, the next. Ugh. Dagnabbit. Dagnabbit. Come on. Come on, brush. Yep, so let me move this over while I'm shaking this. So the next part is the wings and the underbelly, which is roughly the same color. Underbelly is probably going to have a dry brush on it. But those wings, that kind of off tan look, I guess, from my terrible naming of colors.
Creamy white with kind of a pale tanned flesh. So the creamy white will take down the tanned flesh to get you that kind of colour.
The creamy white with what? Tan flesh?
Yeah, for the wings. There's a beigey element to the wings. It's got that kind of leathery feel.
What's the speed paint name
I
for
don't
those
know.
two colors? I'm going with I'm trying my try, right? Not everyone will have a Bryan to put palettes against. So I'm trying these two. I'm gonna try Crusader Skin with a bony matter color and see how this shakes out. I'm thinking that this is the base, which is Crusader Skin, and then I'm gonna give some drops of this to kind of give that color.
Yeah.
And see how that shakes out. Now this is me completely pulling this out my rear end, right? This is not. Don't take this as pro tip. This is more. Let's see if it works. And I still got some red paint on my brush that I need to get off.
If you hear any squealing in the background, apparently there's a boss fight.
Oh, she finally reached the proving grounds. Yep. Yep. I gave her a pro tip for that, so she should be good. She should be very successful. Okay. You gotta shake him like maracas. Away from the microphone. Okay, so let's go with the Crusader Skin as the base.
You're not getting the chain in the background, which I won't repeat because I don't want to affect your YouTube channel with that kind of language.
Oh boy. And then we'll add about 2 drops of the bony matter. 1, 2, 3. So she's having a good time, is what you're saying. She's having a good time.
She's trying to work out what something is.
On the
And there's a, what is that?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I like that.
I don't think you know what she's talking about.
What the heck? So I'm trying to add it to the side to see how it'll stick. I don't know. Let me try to. I feel like it's a little dark. I'm scared to add this white speed paint to it. I did add water to try to dilute it a little bit, but I'm not feeling that color. So let me just add 1 drop.
Add the white, that's a bit more of the pale, but remember that speed paints, a lot of the white on them is the color that's behind them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying. Okay, this one, it's lightening up to look like a better color. When I added that 1 drop. That looks a lot better. Shake it like a salt shaker. Y'all don't want me to start dancing on stream. You don't want that. No one wants that. This looks...
I think you're hilarious, but...
That looks a little better. Alright, let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a whirl and see how it looks. We're just going to do this area right here. And if it looks gross, we're going to wipe it off. So here we go. A little bit more. Come on. It's not bad. What do you think? It's not bad.
It's not bad. I'd have thinned it out a little more than you did, but
It's not too bad. Let me see if I can hold it up even closer here. See? So it's not.
as it dries, that may well rectify itself.
Yeah, and that's my hope. That's my hope. So it's not too bad. I mean, the Crusader skin is still the base, so maybe it might work. I don't know. I don't have a fan on in here, so the smell of paint smells great. I probably should turn on the fan. After I do this. Okay, let me turn on the fan. Okay. Candy's getting high off of paints on stream.
And it's not even one of the streams where you're being tortured. I mean, I could understand you getting high to try and get through some of the Arkham stuff.
No, that's the only way to get through the Arkham stuff. There we go. That's not... When it dries, it should show a lot better, but that's actually not bad. I'm not hating the color. I wish I would have made more. That is my only sadness, because if it runs out, I have to remember my proportions. I think it was... Otherwise, we're going to have some mismatched wings. And when I finish these reds, what I could have done, and this is the thing, back to Bryan's point, is I could have done a layer on top of it so it doesn't mess up or get reactivated. But I didn't. YOLO.
It's the reactivating that's the big issue with the army painters. Because if you do want to do multiple layers and gradually just build up the color that way to make sure you get what you want, it's very hard to do.
Oh yeah, no problem, Matthew. Yeah, I enjoy painting, and Bryan and I usually before we would paint off stream and just chat about anything. Because he and I can have those conversations, so we would chat about anything. And then we took it to streaming, and yeah, it's just been very relaxing to do. And
I enjoy torturing Derek, and now I get to do both.
He turned those got tos into get tos. See, yeah, I'm running out already, so and I've got the underside of these wings to do. There we go. That actually looks incredible. I really like that. Okay, I gotta remake these. So, because I don't have enough for the other side, but that looks really, really good. Dadgummit, I wish I would have made more. Alright, let's try to reinvent that. So, Crusader skin. And we'll do the bony matter. I know it was just one drop of the white, so 1, 3, 4. Mix those together. Yep, that gave that darkened color that I saw, so it is working. You know, I'm so happy I stumbled upon your channel, Board Games, and showing people how to paint. So cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I know there are a lot of other channels that do this as well. I just, you know, I find... Oop, that's the one drop I needed. I find the joy in this. This is just fun.
The others have a Derek.
Do what?
The others have a Derek.
I think that's the color we want. Methinks so. Let's throw it on here and see. Yep. Haha. Feeling good. All right. Love it when I win. It's a little bit darker, but that's okay. Hopefully it'll dry out and match. And notice this one's drying, so you're starting to see the color on that side. But yeah, thank you for the kind words. That was very nice. Yeah, I hope y'all are having fun. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun. Lock out all that other outside world crap. There are no division lines here. We're just, everybody's the same, just hanging out. And I missed the part that needed to be red. Yay! Yay me! So I'm gonna have to go back and paint that. And let's see what we got here. I keep having the battle music from my Eden Chronicles in my head. Oh my gosh! Cynthia's gonna soon start as she's walking around. You'll just hear her start humming the battle beat as well.
Yay!
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
Oh, did something... oh, it just popped up. Yep, thank you so much, Matthew. This is for you, my friend. Make sure you share it with Bryan. I'm kidding. I do not know how this works. All proceeds go to the Bryan Sarcastic Fund.
It's a major project to keep the Sarcastic Fund going. And it's a big thing, but...
All proceeds go to the Bryan Sarcastic Fund. Because together, we can stop it. We can start the sarcasm. The sarcasm. Hey, when is UK Game Expo? Is it soon? It's soon, right?
Very soon. It's beginning of June.
Okay. Is it always held? Oh, there it is. There it is. Thank you so much for the super chats. It's kind of late push there. Is it always held in Birmingham?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the pleasure to go there last year and hung out with Bryan and Cynthia for the entire con, and it was good. I mean, a lot of people, you know, Cynthia was trying to set those expectations. She's like, it's not the size of Gen Con. It's a big con. So they have a convention center. It takes up the convention center. It doesn't spill outside of it, but Unless there were areas. I mean, I know part of the convention center was entrance, like where you get your badges.
There's 4 or 5 other of those halls that weren't in use.
Oh, okay. But it was still big. I mean, it took us
Yeah,
all
they
day to get
usually
through.
have multiple conventions of that size going on at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. But it's still, to me, it was still big. It was still a big convention to go to. It was a lot of fun. People were super nice and amazing. So
I'm hoping my bank account's recovered, ready for the next one. Which is all Canje's fault.
Well, no. That is not my fault. You have no proof of that.
Final girl.
That you have no proof of that. All I did was say, hey, if you would enjoy this game, you should get it. That's all I said. I informed her of the potential of her enjoyment of the game.
Your exact words were, buy it.
Was, if you enjoy it, you should buy it. See? Won't stand up in court.
Yeah, try and twist it as much as you like, right?
You won't stand up in court. I said if you will enjoy it.
If so you doesn't regret it at all.
Exactly.
Which wouldn't do, because it was me that paid for it.
Taking a pro tip.
I didn't hear what she said. What?
Taking a pro tip.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was after a chorus of Yay Expo, can't wait for Expo.
Look at that. How do y'all think about how do you feel about those wings? They look good to me. I like them. I don't know. That's just me. I like them.
That's always the important thing. What other people think is irrelevant.
I like them. I think they're pretty.
What about? Didn't make it down last year. He was locked up in Scotland, but he is coming down, and we will be seeing him this year.
Yeah, and I did get to meet Bob. I went up to, and I have to say this proper because Cynthia told me to say this proper. I went up to Scotland, to Edinburgh. Yes. And hung out with Bob, and it was a pleasure. He took us around. He took us around the entire city on like a full tour of just everything that was in the city. That place is gorgeous, and the weather was incredible. So the weather was just phenomenal. It made me want to move there. But then I asked him, does it get cold? And he said, haha, yes. So yeah.
But you had the only that weather for about 3 years. You had the entire quota for 3 to 5 years.
But it was gorgeous there. Like every morning I woke up and I walked up to I just walked from the hotel to the castle, up that mile, the mile that they have. I just walked the whole thing, and it was just nice, very relaxing. What keeps getting on my fingers? Oh, you. Yeah, the sun was out in the photos I saw. Yeah, it was nice. It was very nice up there. I think one day was overcast while I was up there, but it was... I think first what it threw me was the temperature. The temperature was in the mid 60s, mid to high 60s. And they have, right where the train station is, they have a mall, like an underground mall. When I went into the mall, it was ridiculously hot. They had the heat on. And for the life of me, I was, American. I was kind of curious as to why, until I realized that this wasn't common weather. It's usually cold, so the heat you got to warm the inside. But yeah, it was gorgeous that entire day. Well, actually, the entire 3 days we were there. It was nice.
Yogi, it's as warm for it. It's as rare for it to be warm in Scotland as it is for the wildlife not to try and kill you in Australia.
I've been to Scotland in summer and had to wear 4 layers of clothes. Hey, Stephen, what's going on? Yeah, no, I actually was in jeans. I had on a light jacket, and it was nice. It was very nice. Yeah, because I didn't get my hat until I was in London. So, and even in London, it was nice. The weather was just nice the whole trip. Because when we went walking in that park, that was nice weather too. So is it typically that nice this time, like that time of year, or did we just get lucky?
I'm not going to say it's rare, Derek, but it's as rare as you rolling well on dice.
Ooh. So non-existent. Non-existent. Gotcha. Oh, Steven, I don't know if you saw, but I put that item I put in the mail for you, so you should be getting it in the mail on Wednesday, I believe. Here we go. Not bad. And I'm running out again, but at least now I know how to make more. So let's see if I can cover this swing before I run out.
And you're getting comfortable with mixing paints, which is even more important.
Yeah. I just remember, like, before I'd stopped, I was getting good at, I won't even say get good, I was getting decent at being able to kind of know what to mix to get the color I want. Now I'm feeling like I'm starting over.
There's a moral to this story.
Have somebody else do the painting for you?
No.
See, now that I know how to mix it, the mixing gets easier.
I think that'll do for that one.
Do what?
The mini. I think that'll do for that one.
Oh, you're finished? Let's see.
Yeah.
Is that coins on the floor? I that's the first time I noticed that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's all your huge earnings from YouTube.
Huge earnings. No. No. I wish it was huge earnings. No. I am a tiny channel.
You're growing at a good speed. You're almost at 2.5.
Yeah, I'm happy with the growth ratio of the channel. Like, I hope it continues to grow and more people find it. But I know I don't. I want to be very careful of, like, how I do that growth. I don't want it to be, oh, I'm going to just be growth for Cult of the New. I want to play the games, I want to play, and we all join at the table and play it. Hence why I started doing playthroughs of Dead of Winter on VOD. I still love that game, but Speaking of slow-moving games, although not at the same scale, have you checked out the expansion rules for Zeruia? Not yet. I did see they released it, but I haven't, because I'm still under PTSD of the sticky notes that I had to do for the first one. So hopefully they'll do it. And that guy's been getting a lot of hard flack, and because people are like, "Hey, where's my game? Where's my game? Where's my game?" I think they don't realize that it's just him out of his garage packaging by himself, mailing game off by himself. Um, it's not an easy endeavor, but I think he is working to try to do it, and people aren't ghosted, right? They aren't like, oh, he said that he was going to deliver, and this guy's vanished off the face of the earth. No, he's there. It's just he's
If there's
doing
only one, it
yeah,
takes time.
exactly. So basically, he'll package up a set, mail it off, come back home, take care of his family, package up another set, grouping, mail it off, rinse and repeat. So if he gets sick, um, yeah, so if he gets sick, then of course that stuff will falter, and then people will be like, "Oh, he ditched us. He took our money. Boo!" And it's like, no, he's probably something's going on. Uh, I think what he's tried to do was be very communicative about um, what's been going on, and I think at times that's kind of slipped, where he wasn't as communicative as he should have been, and that probably has led to a negative side effect. But I think people should know, like, it's not a shipping company, it's just one dude doing all that work. So just keep that in mind before you lay into them.
Oh, did you see that? Apparently, Divinity Original Sin has started shipping.
Speaking of delayed deliveries, Divinity Original Sin board game finally start shipping, and I can't wait to see. Wait, didn't that game already ship? Because Tiny has it. I remember I asked him about it because he was like, yeah, he did it. Didn't that game ship? Wolfie, are you where are you in the world? Are you where are you located? Because is it just shipping to your region? Like, has it been delayed shipping to your region? Because I remember a few people saying that they got that game already. I know I remember Tiny having it. He's a patron, so for people who are like, who the hell is Tiny? He's a patron, but I believe he had that game. Australia, the land down under. I'm just a bit behind on it. Ah, okay. Yeah.
That's more for the Australian compliment.
Yeah. I know certain regions are probably still waiting, but I could remember him getting it. I thought that US was kind of the last along the line, especially because we've had a lot of shipping problems as of late. There's been a lot of issues around our shipping where things have come in late. For instance, I think right now I know China they have shipping notifications for Marvel United Season 3 going out, and I don't think ours is slated to happen for until later this year potentially. And there's a few other games that have already distributed worldwide. I think Slay the Spire distributed worldwide before it got here. There were a few people who, other content creators that were like in other countries that I watched that have been saying, hey, we're on we've played Act 3 4 times, and that was when I got my shipping notification. So I know it varies. Death May Die, I think, is another one that's going to be shipped out to other regions before they hit our region. The next season, I think Come On's going to be shipping to other regions before it hits us, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was last of what I was hearing. Let's see. I know what a black and tan is. I just want to give you props for what? Yeah, I don't. That's a new word for me. I don't know what that means. Have you played Primal yet? I want to pick your brain on the boss mechanics with the monsters remaining in one spot. I played the demo. I played the demo just to kind of get used to it, but I need to go back and read the rule book. My hand is horribly shaking on this, so let's go full. So I'm painting Vyraxen right now. So far, the monster I like from playing the demo. I really love the monster mechanics of this game because there is no monster turn. Um, we could talk about. I'm painting Primal. Let's talk about Primal. There is no monster turn. The monster's turn is basically it reacting to everything you do. So, for instance, it'll say, okay, well, and once again, I need to read the rule book. I don't have the terminology. So don't say, oh, that's not what it is, Canje. You're supposed to say it's this other thing. It's more, there are specific colored cards, supports, defense, aggressive cards. And it's like if you play an aggressive card, and the monster says that it reacts when you play an aggressive card, then you flip over that card, and that is how the monster reacts to you, but it's in your turn. So I think I really like that. I like that mechanic of there is no monster turn per se. All it's doing is reacting to everything you do. So there could be an instance if cards play out right or however the deck builds out right, there could be an instance where the monster doesn't get a turn. It's just kind of because you didn't do the reaction, but that's very few and far between. I played the demo twice, and both times it reacted like it reacted a lot. It reacted a lot to the things I did. So if you get 3 of one type and you just don't do that action exactly, Yogi, yeah. So there are ways to stop the monster from activating, but you would have. I think someone compared this game in terms of strategy, and I'll just say that in terms of strategy, and I think it was Dan, and he said he compared it to Mage Knight, saying that the strategy of it is there are no dice rolls. There's no dice to roll to see, okay, well, does this hit go off? Your hit happens. It's just more, does the monster respond to how you're attacking? So you're gonna attack, the monster will respond to it, but how you determine that attack based on what the triggers are, which you full well know what those triggers are up front, it becomes like a hand management game that's akin to Mage Knight. I could play this and then do this and just kind of think your turn ahead. The trouble, I think what makes me a little bit weary is when it comes to games like that, I can only do one character at a time because that's a lot of brain burn management. I mean, imagine playing, for people who could do it, good on you. But I'm just thinking, imagine playing Mage Knight two-handed or three-handed. It would be.
You struggle with one character most of the time.
Do what?
You struggle with one character most of the time.
I struggle with one character most of the time. And so, or I compare it to that. I mean, I struggle with, like, Yogi's really good at Arkham, and I'm sure Yogi plays Arkham multi-handed. I don't think I can pull that off because each card has each card has that functional set to where you just have to know the game and know what you're doing, or else you're just going to make a mess of it. And so I would struggle playing Arkham multi-handed. So plus I got Kate and Cynthia, so why should I, right? They're fun to play games with, and I enjoy it. But I don't think I'd ever. I tried Arkham solo multi-handed, and it was a mess. It was a straight mess. Well, it says you do need to manage the second character, but I think that I'm not going to be playing Primal solo. I'll be playing Primal 2-player. It's going to be me and Pac-Man playing this game live on Thursdays, Thursday evenings. So this will not be a digital, we're moving from the digital space to this where we'll be playing it. But I do believe, and I haven't watched the video because I didn't want any spoilers of how this fight works, how any of it works, but I do believe Barrett and Colin are playing this presently. But I don't know if they are playing. I don't know how many characters they're playing with. If they're playing with 4, if they're playing with 2, I have no idea. I haven't watched. I plan to watch their first video after I do the first fight versus Vyraxen, and then I'll probably catch up on their videos at that point. But I think
Keeping up
that's... Oh, sorry, go
videos
ahead.
on,
Go ahead, go
keeping up with people's videos on YouTube is a full-time job.
ahead. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's I think like after I played the demo of this game, immediately I was like, I can't play this game solo. I would make a complete crapshoot of it. I'm sure there are people who can, and are very good at it. I just know I can't. And I'll say can't because I know my, it's kind of like know your limits. I know my limits on that. It's playing Mage Knight multi-handed. No, thank you. No, thank you. All right. Here we go. Look at those wings. What do y'all think? Look at the wings. The back is dried. How do you feel that looks?
Looks good.
So the back is dried so far of it. Of those wings. The underside is drying right now. Now, my here's the funny part, and this is probably where I may ask some ideas here. So, and let me pull the picture over. So, if you look at the wings themselves of this image, they have like that darker tone, which I tried to capture there, right? But the belly it's that color, but also lighter. So I don't know. This is where an I don't know comes in. I don't know if I should paint the belly the same as the wings and then dry brush the belly with some white.
That would work.
To kind of get that, or if I should just up the white in the wing color to get that as well. Like, which one would work better? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. So that's. I think I might. The problem, and this back to Bryan's original statement. That's what makes this hard, because if this mini was not connected to this base, that would be easy because I could pop it off, flip it over, and then dry brush easily. But getting a dry brush up under here for newbie painters is really hard, so I'm going to try the latter, and if the latter looks awful, I'll then go back to the former and dry brush it. So we're going to remix up, but this time I'm going to add a different color in as well. So let's do our 7 drops of Crusader skin, 4 drops of bony matter. This time I'll just do 3 drops of bony matter. And instead of doing the white, I'm actually going to add ancient honey as the color. I'm actually going to throw that in the mix and see how that goes. So like a nice little yellowish. Just do 1 drop of that, and then Bob Marley says, stir it up. And it gives a good little bit akin to that. I have not painted a miniature ever, and I have a lot of naked KDM minis, more naked than there usually are. You should paint, man. Grab some paints, come paint with us. That's what it's all about, right? All right.
Yep.
So let's put this on and see what this looks like. Scary time. This is the scary time. Here we go. Belly. And we'll see how this looks. If it's a... I need to see how it dries. That's the problem. So let's put it on. And just cover a nice area and then see how it dries on the belly. This could be a complete mistake. This could be the worst decision I've ever made. And
No, you already agreed to start painting with me on stream, so you can't be.
You should splash some paint on this. Yep, Steven, KDM minis are fun to paint. They're, I bet they're fun. There's another series of minis, and Brian, I don't know if you've ever looked at them, but the minis for Deep Rock Galactic, those minis are incredible and neat to be painted. They
I've
look
never heard of it.
Yeah, they look so good. It's actually a really fun game. Steven over Co-op Guild, he has it, and it's a really fun game. It's a really fun game to play. But the minis are from Deep Rock Galactic are just amazing. Man, I had one more drop of this.
And now I've got to phrase this very carefully. Are they in the same vein as KDM?
No, no. Deep Rock Galactic is a very quick to play game. You work for a corporation who doesn't care whether you live or die, just as long as you meet your bottom line. Each mission is standalone mission, and you basically are airdropped onto a planet full of rocks. You have to dig in the rocks and kill monsters. That was it. That was the game.
Yeah, I wasn't so much thinking the game. I was thinking the minis.
Oh no, the minis are not. They are children friendly. They're not KDM non-children, and they're not nightmare fuel. Like the one that Cynthia loves with the crying baby.
Yeah, there's been, you missed that comment in the background. What? No babies?
They are not nightmare fuel. Ugh. Here we go. Happy little tree. Got just that underbelly. That's right there. And then the bottom of the feet. That same color. Yeah, there's a specific monster in this game that I will probably need a lot of guidance on. There's a monster that is very multicolored and blended. And I will need tons of guidance on that, so we'll have a stream on blending that Brian will teach us all to blend.
On that note,
Blending stuff, let me see.
did it put focusing slightly better?
That looks so amazing. Wow.
That's just airbrushing. If you want to blend, airbrush.
Yeah, we'll have a session on that because I think like I can prime it and then I just need to blend everything else. But we will have a session on that for sure. I agree, puppy. I agree.
How's your puppy?
He's alright. Psychopath. Yeah, a little psychopath. Just, when he gets he's always in play mode. And then, I don't know if your dogs do this, but he'll get in play mode, then he'll stop and just stare at you. You're like, what do you want? to it, and then he'll start back up again. But the stare will last a very uncomfortable amount of time. There we go. And hopefully when that dries, that'll look good. If it doesn't, I can dry brush it, and that'll be fine. I gotta get underneath your neck with this, too. Here. The theme is Urkel. Now, I think he finished the one that he was doing for me. Of me, should I say. Not for me, of me.
Yeah, this one isn't quite of Canje. I don't think he's had that piece of surgery yet.
You'll know. Might be how I look like right now. This is just an LMD. There we go. Looks a lot better than, hopefully, than when I was just doing a bunch of reds everywhere.
That's coming on really well.
Oh, thank you. Here we go. And then this area that's here that you're seeing that's gray, I need to blend that. So I've left it gray because I need to blend it and then add stuff to it. So it's going to be, I'm going to have to mess with these two colors and probably put them all together. No, that'll make them black. I'll probably put one on, then immediately put the other, which means I need to remix this one. And so far, pretty decent. Just catching areas that I missed. Is the demo for this on TTS? I guess I could look. Yes, it is. There is a demo for Primal on TTS that you can use. The belly's not, it's drying, but it's not shaping up to the color that I really wanted. Like I said, I'm going to dry brush it a little. Alright. So that was the inner bits.
Cream, don't go for pure white.
Do what?
Go for a pale cream, don't go for pure white.
Okay. Oh, for the dry brush? Okay, will do. Next is all this gray and black that's up here, and the spikes on the tail, a little bit of shales on the leg, some on the wings, that type of thing. So we're going to do that, tick, 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 with, I'm going to add Gravelord Gray and a drop of Ashen Stone. And that'll be kind of what I go with. Come to San Antonio, my friend. We will game all weekend. That sounds awesome. Y'all enjoying the shaking noises? Yeah, this is 90% of speed painting. Shaking up paint. All right, so we'll do probably, I got to test it out, right? So let's do 4. Oh, that is more than 4. That is a full pour. Come on, come on, give me drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll do 4 to 1 on the ashen gray. And mix all that up. Should get me a... Yeah, that's a good color. That is sweet. And we're just going to kind of run that up here. This actually is the exact color I wanted, a 4 to 1, so do the math if you're going to add more. Oh, for people who are also new to painting or getting in, Bryan, what type of brushes do you recommend for starters?
I would go for a starter. I'd go for a synthetic brush. So you get 2 different kinds of brushes. You get
hold on.
synthetic.
Let me get you. There you go.
You get synthetic. Oh, it's not focusing. And you get sable. Pardon. Sable, you want to be a lot more cautious with. They're a lot more expensive. They take a lot longer. They ruin it. Take longer to get ruined as long as you treat them right. Synthetics are a lot cheaper, so you're talking probably $1 versus $8 to $10
per brush.
Per brush.
So the ones, I know that speed paints come with brushes. Are those good enough? Are those the synthetics that you're talking about?
They're fine when you first start.
Okay.
Then you get to more expensive brushes as you get more comfortable. The sable is, if you're painting detail, then you're starting to move to sable. So if you look at what I'm doing, I'm painting the creases on that shirt. And those creases ain't big. So you want a very good brush for doing that with.
Any specific sizes recommended?
A lot of that's taste. Some of the big painters will recommend you use larger brushes because it'll hold paint in the belly and you should still be able to get a good tip. I tend to go for smaller ones, largely because if I'm using that brush, I'm trying to get into a narrow space. And it's all well and good having a belly of a brush to be able to hold extra paint in. But if that belly won't get into the space that you want, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
I'm using a 3-0 right now. I've got a 6-0 for doing eyes, but for the bulk of my work, I'm probably using a 1.
And when you say 301s, all those numbers, say more, like go into a little bit detail about that.
So, brush size, there isn't a specific brush size. So different manufacturers will use the same numbering system, but it means completely different things depending on which manufacturer it is.
Okay.
So brush sizes, you go from 0 and then up in numbers, the bigger the brush gets. So a 0 is pretty small, a 4 is fairly large. Then as they get smaller, they add zeros on the end. So you've got 0, 2, 0, down to, you don't get much smaller than the 6-0.
Okay. Is that more of a detail brush, like when you get in those numbers?
Let me pull out my... So, and it will hopefully move that. It will hopefully focus.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's...
One is a 1, one is a 6-0.
Yeah, definitely detail brush. Steven asks, is it possible to paint all minis through different steps with just an airbrush?
you can't do detail as easily. You can get reasonably fine lines, but you can't get detail as easily with an airbrush. So generally, if you're just doing general colours, so all of his flesh was done with an airbrush. But if I was going to go and do the eyes, I'd be pulling out my brushes. You can, and one thing you'll do a lot, if you use a lot of airbrushing, you mask off bits. Where are my masking materials? Use a bit of blue tack, that'll do. So if I use him as an example, if I was going to say dry brush the horns, I would get something to airbrush the horns to come round the outside edge, like so, to protect the paint that I didn't want the airbrush to hit.
And is that you're using, is that sticky tack? Is it silly putty? Is it Play-Doh? What is it?
This is actually just straight sticky tack. The recommendation is silly putty. I've got a pot, I just can't put my hand straight on it. And then you're probably going to use sculpting tools so that you're making sure that you're only covering the area you want and none of the rest of it. A bit like so. So that's actually a bit soft. I could actually do using something like this. And that way, the only place you need to be careful with it and use sculpting tool is right where the paint and the putty meet. The back end, you're not sculpting, you're just sculpting the front part. Nice thing with silly putty is because the way it works almost like a liquid at times, you go away, you leave it for 5 minutes, and if it's at the bottom, it'll just dropped and filled in all the bits for you.
And when it comes to doing it though, like you're saying, like use sticky tack, do you leaving it there for it to get a little bit dry on it after you do it? Is there a danger of kind of it pulling off the other paint that's on there, or are you saying that's where you're supposed to do the overlays?
Doing an overlay with varnish is a good idea on that.
Okay.
With silly putty, it's not that likely to do it.
Okay.
I'm more concerned using sticky tack, as I was there. I wouldn't want to leave it on for that long. It'll do the job quite nicely. I just wouldn't want to leave it on for that long. Whereas silly putty, you're good for a pretty good period of time.
Okay.
But again, if you're going away for a day, I would take it off and put another layer on, just to be safe.
Gotcha. He knows so much. I know.
Because I watch too much YouTube. And if anyone really wants to get the best advice on this, there are a lot of really good YouTubers. I watch a lot of a series called Hobby Cheating by Vince Barantula. And the Hobby Cheating series is, I think, over 450 different episodes now.
Oh, wow.
He does one a week. But he's won awards and he paints at least 60 hours a week while having a full-time job and streaming.
Good Lord.
And somehow managing to keep a wife.
That's impressive. That was very impressive.
Yeah, there are a number. It depends on the kind of way you want to paint and the way you like to take your YouTube. So Ninjon has some good ones. He just literally just got a bronze award in the latest Golden Demon Awards, which are the big Games Workshop based awards.
Mm-hmm.
He's tend to have a fairly comedic element to them, whereas Vince's are more direct information.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There's Lila Mev. She's got quite a few. Yeah, it's find the ones you can watch, because it's like any subject. You'll have some that you're a joy to watch, and some
Is there
don't fit
yeah
right.
is there the like what ends up happening? So for instance, for me, and I'll just speak for myself, like if I watch something like Sarastro paint something, you know, he usually says, hey, here's the paints that I used to do it, that I end up kind of following what he did. You know, so it's kind of, oh, I'm painting along with Sarastro, who figured out these colors and doing these things. That isn't a bad thing to do at all, to follow along. But I think you've recommended before, like, do that as you're starting and getting into things, but as your skill level grows over time, you'll find yourself moving away from that. And
Yeah.
you'll
And
watch
then,
you'll watch Sarastro, but you're not going to use the same colors he uses.
and you're going to have other techniques that you use find more easy or work for you that they don't.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is basically a toolbox,
Yeah.
and you're just then need to pick which tools in the toolbox are the ones that work for you.
Steven said, here's a crazy question. I wonder if the catalyst I have would ruin this type of paint. It allows the paint I use for refinishing to dry in minutes versus typical need hours or a day to dry. These paints are dry. Look at this.
Yeah, if you're using hobby acrylics, then you're not going to have that time problem.
Yeah.
If you're using oils, then yes, you will have that, which is why not many people actually use oils. Acrylics are used because they dry very quickly. And if anything, you end up using retarders to slow them down because they dry too quickly rather than something to speed them up.
Yeah, I have no worry about this thing dry. This thing, the top's already dry. In terms of the wings are done. So it doesn't take days. It actually matter of minutes. And then one thing that you can employ if you need it a lot sooner than that is a hairdryer. Just get a regular common house hairdryer, plug it in, blow it on the mini, and poof, you're gonna be dry fairly quickly. Yes. You're basically watching paint dry. Yes, indeed.
Which is an improvement on most of them.
So, let's see. Nope, touch the tail. This is the hard part, finding the part that I can turn. So I gotta grab the parts that are already dry.
There are too many witnesses watching this. Cynthia can't come and beat me for anything I'm saying.
or these are people who are gonna say, I don't know what she did. Last I heard, she was playing Ayuden Chronicles, so you might not have the support. Oh no, the stream magically vanished offline. What? Tip. Here we go.
So quiet. I know nothing from the other room.
That's my usual thing. Did you see what happened? Nope, I was playing basketball. I didn't see anything. Sorry. at that. Not too shabby. It's looking pretty good. Hands are shaking like crazy. Yeah, dry brush on the belly. I'll make that all better.
It could be worse, Stephen. You could be watching cricket.
Hey now. We talking bad about cricket.
It's slower than baseball.
But,
Baseball does not take 3 to 4 days from the game.
but it's so much fun to watch.
I always knew you were a masochist, Eric. I didn't realise why.
It's fun to watch. I enjoy cricket. I'm a Caribbean boy, so you know, cricket's just kind of there. That
How
and,
many?
that and the proper use of the word football.
Yes. No, I think it's 2020 now, isn't it, Yogi?
One day cricket is fun. Cricket is fun. It's amazing. I love it.
The only time cricket is fun is when it's in reference to Shaun of the Dead. And that's using a cricket bat to beat up zombies.
Cricket's fun. Love it. Yeah. Usually I stick to that because I back all the Caribbean islands when it comes to any of the matches that go on. But the big thing for me though is football, right? World football. Unfortunately, whenever I tell people my favorite team, while I'm a fan of the club. I am nowhere like the club members. And that should let Bryan know who my team is. And yes, they are in Barclay.
It could cover many British clubs, that particular state. Actually, for the team you're talking about, you qualify because you don't live there, like most of their fans.
And if you want to get a proper sense of if you want a proper sense of their fan base, the movie Euro Trip does it to a T. It does it perfectly. But that is my club.
Yeah, someone bumped into a Man U fan in Manchester once. And he was, oh, you're the one.
Not a single one in Manchester until they start winning. They're fair weather, very much so. When they're doing well, stadium's packed.
See, when it comes to football, I don't so much have teams I support, just different levels of teams I hate.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, rugby, on the other hand, Matt, there's a real game. Yeah. Not this nonsense where you put on a load of body armour, a heavy helmet. Yeah, when you've got, Joshua Lomu, when he was alive, at about 6'4", running down the side of a rugby pitch at near Olympic sprinting speeds with 3 members of the British team clinging onto him while he was doing it and still going.
My thing with rugby is I haven't had enough exposure to it to appreciate it. I need to sit down with somebody who knows the game that can teach me the game, and then I'll probably have an appreciation for it, because I hear it's like you said, Matt. I hear it's brutal. So I just need to sit down with someone who fully understands the rules in the game, and then they can teach me the game.
There are two different versions. The one generally you're talking about when you say brutal is rugby union. There's rugby league, which is far, far less physical. It's far more about running the ball rather than having 12, 18-stone people smash into each other at high speed.
Oh, that's hockey.
Think hockey without the armour on a field.
Ooh.
But you get, so football, you get people that are generally supposed to behave on the field and then end up being thugs off. In rugby, it's people that are supposed to be thugs on the field and
the other way.
tend to be very good, very gentlemanly off the field. If you see someone get hurt, the first person on a rugby field that's likely to be there checking they're okay and trying to look after them is the person that may have hurt them, because they'll be devastated. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule, but that's not a bad comment of it. Unless you get mixed rugby, which only tends to happen at school level, and then the boys get obliterated because girls are vicious.
Yeah,
And there are some you don't want a spiked rugby boot.
There was what was it? It was during the Olympics. That was the first time I actually got to. So I was watching, like, during the Olympics. I was watching beach volleyball, both men and women. I was like, whatever. And then I watched the men's indoor volleyball, and I was like, whatever. But then I watched women's indoor volleyball, and it was incredible. I am completely hooked. Like, just how they play the sacrificing just to get at the ball, and it was I was at the edge of my seat for every single one of those matches. And so now that's, if I see women's indoor volleyball, I'm like, yep, I'm going to be watching that because it's going to be incredible, and it usually is.
Well, one of the reasons I have very little time for European football. You watch something like a rugby match, you've got someone that's been smashed into the ground, trodden over by someone in spikes,
Jeez.
potentially got a fractured shoulder, and they're getting up and continuing to try and play. Whereas in European football, someone passes you within like 10 feet and then on the ground, broken their ankle.
Yeah. That's the Neymar effect. That's what that is. Neymar was known for that. Yeah, we're looking pretty decent on this bad boy. All right, now we're gonna get into some fun stuff. Well, I gotta get inside the mouth, the teeth, and the horn. So the horn is going to be this ancient honey color, the tips of the horn, and then the inside of that is going to be the gray. So I could do the gray real quick. Volleyball is actually a lot of fun to play. After playing adult league volleyball, their team I gained a lot of respect for the sport. Volleyball's fun. It is a fun sport, but Them dudes ain't got nothing on. Like just watch a match of female volleyball. It is amazing. It's just it's very fun to witness. So I'm a huge fan of that.
I'm generally not much of a watch sport.
You're not a sporty.
I'd rather be doing than watching. It's not. I'm not a. But equally, most of the sports I like aren't. You're competing against yourself more than others.
So you like golf?
No archery. You're trying to beat your previous score. Hopefully, at the same time, you beat anyone else you're shooting against. But that's not what it's about. It's about bettering yourself, not beating the other person. And the trouble with too much in sport these days, and Cynthia says she's about beating everybody. Too much of sport these days has lost the element of friendly competition, and you actually still keep that very much in archery. Where
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I agree with that one. I think that there's friendly competition in other sports. There are certainly sports that they're not that speak to exactly what you're talking about, but there are a lot of sports that have that friendly competition still in it.
I know that there are. They tend not to be the major football, baseball, etc., etc.
Oh, gotcha.
The heavily monetized ones, especially. Once the media gets their hands on something,
it just goes out the window at that point.
Yeah. I'll buy that for her shirt.
Oh, let me zoom in there. Looks good. Looks really good.
It's when you get to the point that you're not using dry brushing, you're not using speed paints, and all of those highlights and every little stroke you're doing by hand, and then you're going in and redarkening them a bit to put your because you've over highlighted, and it's a back and forth.
Yeah, this one here, what I'm about to do now, I have to do very quickly. I have to do it before the paint dries. I got to paint the sides, and then immediately go back in and paint over them. So paint them. Grab Nuclear Sunrise. Shake it up. Spread it. And then paint over it again. Really quick. And then when it dries, guess what I get to do again? I do that. This again. And we'll let that dry, and then we'll go over it again if we need to. There we go. And then the mouth will be a mix of these two colors. Oh, man. Zoom. So the mouth now will be a mix of these two colors, which is Ancient Honey and Nuclear Sunrise. Sounds good, right? Sounds good.
Well,
I mean, everybody's watched Fallout. You know what Nuclear Sunrise looks like. Two of those. Mix them up. Here we go. And I don't know, Bryan, are you into Fallout, or did you watch the series at all, or do you know?
we watched the series. We played most of the games.
What did you think of the series? Do you feel it did Fallout proud?
I thought it was a very good representation of a large element of what goes on in the game. I'm trying not to give any spoilers here.
Right. But did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It took a while to get into, if I'm honest. It wasn't immediate, oh wow, I've got to watch all of this.
It was like meh, and then the more you watch it, you're like, okay.
It took a while to build in because it's done from several different characters' point of view.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I binged the whole thing because I was like, oh, this is pretty fun.
But that's what enables them to show the different elements of Fallout is by having the multiple protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
So I know and understand why they did it, but it made it take a little longer to get into and
than what you would have liked.
Not than what I would have liked. It was far more old school television than it was a lot of modern television.
Say more about that. Yeah, say more about that. I don't follow. Are y'all the type of painters that must paint like the image shows or go your own way? Bryan is a go his own way. I started as go your own way. I branched out, and since I haven't painted in a very long time, I'm back to paint as the picture shows. For board games that I play, by and large, is paint as the picture shows, but I would like to move away from that at some point in my life. At some point.
With board games, a lot of the time I do a bit. If it's a vague picture that's just cover art, I'm not so bothered. If you've got a character sheet in front of you with that character on it, I'm going to be closer to it than I am going to a completely different direction.
Yeah. Like, you stayed close with the Arkham ones, right? With Mansions of Madness?
Mansions of Madness, what I was actually thinking of at the moment was, Cynthia's yelling Shadows of Killfall. It's not the Shadows of Minis, it was the Shadows of Brimstone.
Oh, Shadows of Brimstone, okay.
Cynthia's going on about the Killforth one, some of which came out quite nicely, some of which I didn't like so much.
They look good from when you posted them. I liked them.
And it's always a headache. If you're going to take a photo of a mini, suddenly you're looking at it a lot bigger than you were when you're painting it.
Mm-hmm. Bothering me is this paint in the mouth bit. I need to soak up some of it. All right. Alright, I'm gonna attempt an eyeball. Let's see how this works for me. Here we go. Usually I don't do eyes. Well, why don't you do eyes? Because I am not good at it, and it frustrates me. It's not that, oh, well, keep trying and you'll get it. No, I get frustrated with them. So I decided to say, let me not hate painting because I can't do this one thing just yet. Instead, let's focus on other things. And then one day I will come back to it.
Eyes are hard. Eyes are a pain. Getting your paint consistency right to do eyes is the big thing. What I've actually found is Scale 75 created these drop paints that are designed for airbrushes.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're a thinner consistency and they've got some retarder in them so they stay wet longer, they work really well for eyes. You've got the time to manipulate them. Of course, I've got 650 paints, so...
You've got the time. That's what you're saying. Yeah, this guy's looking pretty good. So, I need to do the teeth, which I grabbed the bony matter for that. I usually would use pallid bone for teeth, but I wanted to give this bony matter a chance. This is new to me. I've never used bony matter. I don't know if it's supposed to be for teeth or if it's just supposed to be for what it is. And like I said, pallid bone's always my go-to, but I'm giving this one a shot and seeing how it's going to shake out. Trying new stuff. That's what I'm doing. Trying new stuff. If you're telling yourself you can't paint, no way, it's too hard, the answer is that is not true. It's actually very relaxing. Trust me, this is coming from somebody who said those very same words. Bryan remembers. It's too hard, I can't do it, I'm not good, look at the stuff that you're doing, it looks way better. I've said all the excuses and then I did it. And it is very relaxing.
And as we said earlier, it's always going to look better than just grey plastic.
Yeah.
Grey plastic, man.
You know, so I'm looking at this right here, as you notice, I put that in for the mouth. Here's me deviating from the picture. So if you look at the mouth, you see it's kind of like heating up to do this fire blast or whatever it's going to do as it's an attack. So I tried to match that here with this one, and I don't like it. Like, I don't know, but that's, I'm not digging what I'm seeing. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to deviate from script, and I'm going to grab this lovely thing called scar tissue. And instead of it being fire coming out of its mouth, it's going to just be its mouth. And so we will deviate from that and use this one that's called scar tissue. Just a little pinch of it. This one, this a little goes a long way, because usually you're not going to use this as much. I used it for the rats from Oathsworn, for the brood mother, the inside of her mouth as well, and it came out really well. That was actually a recommendation from Mel from Rob's gaming table. I almost said Robin Mel's gaming table. But from Rob's gaming table, she was like, this is what she uses. It works well. So huge shout out to her for that. And she was not wrong. This stuff is incredible. And this is not speed paint. This is just regular A paint. But look at that. It just immediately looks incredible. So huge shout out to Mel for this recommendation. She is I'll say she's a better painter than me by far.
It was her first painting stream that actually got me to sign up for Rob's gaming table.
Oh yeah? Nice.
Way back in the day.
Yeah. But she was like, yep, this is what I use and it works great, and she was not wrong. Look at that. That looks so much better. Look at it. So, for people who went with the effect that's on the card, I prefer just kind of seeing it out there, and then the teeth. The teeth are drying and it's not coming out the way I want. I might have to switch back to pallid bone. Or I can make it work, because that's what you can do. Let's add 1 drop of white to it. And it transforms, pow, in the pallid bone. Then just run over it again.
I've been putting off starting this bit for months. Her hair.
Why is it going to be a rough go?
It's getting the tonal qualities and the matches when you're trying to do dreadlocks.
I gotcha.
And it's, doing the natural tones of the hair that would be there justice.
Oh my gosh. That looks good. And then just imagine, like, I drop some oohoo of it kind of slobbering out the mouth and let it dry. Ah, it's gonna be incredible. Okay. Alright. These are dry. I am at the dry brush stage. So you were saying cream for the stomach. The wings I feel are okay. I mean, let me hold this up for y'all to see. Hopefully it'll focus at some point. Come on. There we go. So this is what it looks like that you're seeing here. And then flip it up. Started with some, and as I said, I went through to kind of let you know how I got to the slop chop method of lighting and shadows. And so this is what it looks like. The wings themselves, I'm not gonna dry brush because I actually like how they look. Hey Steve, what's going on? I actually like how the wings look. I would like this back area is not that doesn't bother me. The belly I need to dry brush, but I don't know. What do you think? Is there anything else you think I need to kind of add to this? I don't know. Like, what are y'all's thoughts? Do you think that there's...
Red irises.
You let that go. You let those eyes go. You could put some bright orange for the eyes. Yeah, I think I can't use speed paints for the eyes. I have to use regular paint. So I might do that. Of course, the base I'm gonna paint like rocky brown. So I'll just go over this black with it. I'll go over the black with brown and ta-da. Probably a dry brushed brown so that I don't have to, so it won't clump and look weird. But yeah, needs some bling. I don't know, it looks good to me. But let me get the dry brush for this. So I need to find a cream color for here, and then I need to get the dry brush stuff. So I'm gonna zoom you over to Bryan while I go pick that up. So there we go, and let me vanish for a second. Where is my camera? This one. Be right back. It's all on you, Bryan.
I'm out of focus for some reason. Move that over there. So it's a bit harder for it to. Yeah, so I'm just basically putting on a mid-tone, which is called African Shadow, which seems appropriate. So this is just going to be the base color for the hair. It will get browner when I put a wash over the top to highlight some of the depth. And then it will get a variable paint again of the individual strands going over the top of that to bring out, well, the individual strands, but put all of the shadow and the toning from around where the sun is coming from. Then eventually the airbrush is going to come out and I'm going to use Payne's Grey, which is a shadow type color, to come from that direction, so that I've just put some extra shadow in, very, very pale from the airbrush. But that'll be at the very, very end. That'll probably be the last thing I do. And I've got a long time before I'm going to get there. There is so much detail on this mini. And it is so tiny. It's almost as small as Canje's dice rolls.
Whoa, why do I come into that? How did I come in and being called out on my dice rolls? Hey Janet, what's going on? Looks good. Put some bright orange for the... Oh, I forgot the bright orange. Dadgummit. You know what? I'm gonna use tan flesh for the eyes. So, bright orange would be good. I forgot. Do I have bright orange in Pro Krill? I do. I see it. Okay, be right back, Janet. I'm going to go get my bright orange.
Pro Krill orange. It's not bright orange. It's just called orange for Pro Krill. Thought he'd been a bit quiet, and if I started mentioning his dice rolls, he'd show up again.
All right, so let's see. Painting Yeah, full. Okay. So here's the orange I'm going to use for the eyes. So Pro Acryl. How I got introduced to Pro Acryl was I ran across them at Gen Con. And I was like, oh, they offer, you get
I remember how you were introduced to Pro Acryl.
you say what?
I remember how you were introduced to Pro Acryl. All over yourself, wasn't it?
Yes, I did dump this. Yes. So funny story. um, they have an interesting way to open their cap, right? So usually what you do is you twist the cap off, there's a nozzle head, squirt a few drops, and you're good. What Pro Acryl does is that their cap is actually the dropper. So you would just turn it this way, squeeze out some drops, and then turn it back when you're done. So I'm at Gen Con. This is my first Gen Con I went to. Janet remembers this because she was here with me. She was there with me. And so I was like, okay, I don't know how to do that. So I open the cap, and then I was like, okay. And then I turn it, and all of it dumps out on the table. And so I was like, and someone, I think it was Janet or it was someone else who was like, you just twist the cap to get what you need. And Shame said it. So, but I did like, and Janet was the one who did tell me about this paint. And so I really did like how well it laid onto the Mini. And so therefore, I went and bought some Pro Acryl. So, yeah, that is the story of Pro Acryl and me being me. That's the only.
I have much the range of Pro Acryl. It's one of my favourite paints.
Yeah, you have you have all of them?
Not quite. They've brought out a couple more since. So I've got about 24 I haven't got that I need to think about going out and getting. I just need to find somewhere to put them.
There's this whole sewing room that's in your house.
There was a.
I'm waiting for the comments. I'm waiting for the comment to come in.
I'm not certain she'd buy something she can comment on that easily, but there was certainly a note of discontent elsewhere in the house.
Woo. Somewhere in the world. I'll hear about it tomorrow for sure. And
yes, I can hear her talking about tomorrow in the background. I think she might be going to suffer a little for that one.
Look at that. Ah, my gosh, Janet was right. Looks absolutely terrifying. Alright, so that was that. Now we need to get our dry brush. So when Bryan was talking about brushes, I use a 30, so 000. That's the one I use, 30 round from Nick Pro. You can find these on Amazon. I haven't gotten into the big business of what Bryan uses. And then for dry brush, you can actually go to a beauty store, Ulta or Sally's or whatever is in your area, and buy one of those blemishing brushes. That'll work fine. Oh, this is my hand from yesterday. But
any cheap ones showing up on Amazon these days.
The wedge?
From proper design for dry brushing brushes showing up on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
That aren't on paper. They're like.
Okay. Yeah, this one came with I forgot what I bought. I bought some paint or something, but this came with it, which is a medium dry brush. It is one of those poof thingies, and as you can see, it's gotten a lot of use. But this one actually is not stiff, so I don't need to wet it. But I do need to mix what I need to mix to make it work. Okay, so this goes to a question of Bryan. Bryan, you were saying using a cream color. Which one do you recommend for the tummy?
What are they? If they're Pro Acryl, I can look on my wall. What are the names?
Olive flesh and tan flesh.
Olive flesh.
All right, cool. Boom. Rathalos. No, there's another mini. There are some pretty good looking minis in. I'll show y'all some of the minis as we're coming to the end. We're close, but this is for the tummy dry brush. So we'll do this. Wait, have I opened this yet? Because this could be a huge waste of time if I did not, and I didn't. So I said it could have been a huge waste of time. Peel that off. And that's the color that you're gonna get. Yeah, don't get too worried about paint on your hands. That's just a foregone thing. Look at Bryan's hands. Insta paint everywhere.
That's because I actively paint my hand as I'm going to get some of the paint off the brush, but I equally have a bad habit of keeping the brush moist by sticking it in my mouth, so I eat the paint as well, but
I don't know if that's part of a well-balanced diet.
that's not again another not uncommon thing amongst painters. You get conversations about which is the best and the worst tasting paint.
Yeah, so I'm dry brushing, so I'm not trying to clear it all off, but I'm dabbling until it's light. You see it's still on the brush, and it's light, so then, holy biscuits, how'd you get on there? Get off. Here we go. So then, yeah, see, it gets on the base, but getting on the base doesn't bother me. Like, wipe it on here, it's not a big deal. All right. Get it on his tummy. There you go. Dry brushed on, looks pretty good. Actually, it didn't come out on that. Just out of curiosity. Some light touching on the wings. Light touching on the wings actually looks really good. Damn it. Good part of experimenting is you can see it shakes off on the wings. Light touchings on the wings actually looks pretty. Look at that.
Yes, when you experiment, you've got to accept it might work, which may increase your workload.
Yeah, that's true. But it looked really good when I applied it to the wings. Look at that. Holy cow, that looks incredible.
Now, it's one of the hard parts is being brave enough when you've got something you think already looks okay to experiment, and then going, oh, actually, that worked really well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a big mini. Now I've got to do all of this other stuff as well.
Yeah, this looks pretty decent. This was not a bad idea. Because the wings look good, but this really brought it out. That really, you notice it really right here at the on the outside. That really brought it out. Let's see, what else do we want to do? What else do we want to do? Vyraxen. I need to do dry brush on your sides. And we need to do a orangish hue. So let's pour some orange on there. looking good. And grab some orange on there, and really, this is a
just
very...
on about the sewing room.
Oh. She's got something she needs to say. So this is yeah, the orange is dangerous. I have to be very, very careful that it's light, because the orange could mess me up. Yeah, that looks good. That side looks incredible. So I love that. That looks good to give it kind of... Sorry, you can't see it. There we go. Would doing that on his chest bring out the picture color too? Doing which one? It brought out... I don't know if y'all could see. Oh, let me see if I can make it show. There we go. So it lightened up that flesh one. I did do it on his chest already. That's where I started. And so I wanted to dabble on it to make it pop out that much. Which gave that look, which is what I wanted. And then the wings just kind of was a happy byproduct. So it really... I like how the chest came out when I added that dry brush. And then I'm really liking the cheeks having that orangish, tannish glow, like the blend into it. I like how that looks as well. And that's the only place that needs orange. So let's not get crazy with orange. Get rid of that. Bring this over. And now we're going to do the base. And the base, I'm going to dry brush with a light umber and a burnt orange. I'm going to mix these two colors together. A little bit darker hue, so I might add one more, that olive flesh, back into it to give it just a little bit of a light set. And mix those together, and that should be good. It should be fantastic. Yeah, and while I'm trying to wait until that dries out, this is what we started with in terms of gray plastic. It was this. This is the next one I'm going to be painting. So I already know that from the TTS mod. But this is the next creature I'll be painting. But this is... Notice it's about... If I put it side to side with Vyraxen, roughly about the same size. So Vyraxen's more spread out with the wings, but roughly about the mini is about the same size. So this one I will be painting next when we paint. And so this one ought to be... This one's going to be hard, actually. It's going to be very, very hard because notice the distance between the base and the underbelly is like just my finger. So getting a paintbrush in there to get those, even if I flip and finagle, it's going to be hard. So I'm hoping that... I haven't looked at the picture of what color this needs to be yet, but I'm hoping that the underbelly isn't multicolored or needs to be shaded, because that's going to drive me insane. But this is the next one that I'll be painting. But as you can see, it's very nice. This is the one that I will need Bryan's help on. This is a water dragon, and it is blended all to heck. So there are blended colors of purples, blues, all the different colors of the ocean, all the different colors of coral are all part of this mini. And I saw a picture of it during the Kickstarter, and this is the blending project. So this is going to be hard to do for me, and this will be a first. So when we do this, if you are interested in learning how to blend, this will be the one that you want to be there for, and I'll let y'all know in advance. Then there is Godzilla, I mean this monster, that all these are crystals growing off its back, so there'll be a little bit of blending with crystals here because it'll be your purples, your yellows, your blues, your greens. So all the crystals will kind of have a nice blended color. But the body itself is pretty straightforward. It's just the crystals that are on the side. So that's what this one will be. I don't know much about this one. It's just stupid long tail. So I don't know. I haven't. This is getting ahead of story. I mean, it's in the box, so I can see it, so it's not a big deal. But I don't know about like how this one is going to look or supposed to be painted. I got nothing, so I'll have to just kind of do a reference image when I get to this monster to see how this goes. But the tail is insane. That's. There is this guy, lots of scale body on it. Once again, I'm saying this guy because I don't know about this monster. But these will, like, as we're playing the game and we're unlocking creatures, I'm going to say, oh, that's what this creature's name is, and that's what we'll play. But just kind of seeing what's coming up in painting, and all of them are roughly the same size as Vyraxen, as you can see. So, but this one's going to be the scales on the body and how these things shape up. I'm super stoked to see how I'm going to paint this and what color it's supposed to be. This is going to be another lesson in blending. I want Bryan to help me with this. What he did with the creatures from Madara, what he did with those creatures, I want to represent here. I want this thing to be like reflective, colorful. This is my idea I'm seeing for this beetle. Like have that beetle reflective. You know, you get that. Turn it one way, it's looking bluish. Turn the other, it looks a different color. So I'll be, you know,
no pressure.
Do what?
No pressure.
Yeah, and so when it comes time to paint this, that'll be a lesson in for Bryan to teach us, me and you watching, how to accomplish that goal, right? So I'm sure this is later on in the game. Beetle guy. And then there is the final boss. This thing. So, Bryan, remember Tiamat? This is kind of like, this thing is just it's bigger than Vyraxen. It is massive. Like, look at this. This thing is insane. This is the final boss of the game. Everybody knows that. So, and this is the dragon that's on the box of the game if you purchase the game. So I'll be painting this, and you can see the mold lines of where they connected it together, which I wish this came in pieces. I really wish this came in pieces. But there's actually runes here on the stone that I need to capture. But my plan is to, all the lessons that we learn, encompass them in this massive thing. Then there is there are some other minis that coming in Wave 2 that I don't have that we'll be facing in the game. There's a snake type mini. I know that I think there are 4 other minis that are supposed to be coming in the expansion box. Maybe more, I don't know. So I'm looking forward to, but blending. Scared. Foreign concept.
Oh, Canje?
Yep.
Can you just have a quick look at this hair?
Yeah, let me go ahead. There you go.
There's some very quick blending for you.
That looks.
If you see it going from dark to light on one side, across to dark on the back.
Yeah, that looks really, really good. So, learning from the master here. Learning from the master.
I wouldn't go that far, but...
Yeah, it looks really good. Alright, let's finish off this base, shall we? So, We're gonna have to blend on this palette and then clean it off. So we're gonna do a lot of that. We're gonna mix it with some of this. And then we're gonna lighten it up with some of this. And we're gonna mix all that together. To form what will be the ground that Vyraxen will attack you on, which will be your death. So we mix it all together to that. Yep, that's looking good. I should just paint it on instead of dry brushing it on, actually. It's actually working as paint. I might just paint it on and then dry brush all of that. Let me get a broader brush. I don't need to be using my 3. Let's paint with a broad brush here. So this will be the base, and then we'll dry brush the base. Oh, sorry. Holding. That's what happens when I hold things with my left hand. They go off camera. Is there any paint or sealant that has to go on last for longevity of the paint holding up? Yes. There is varnish. Is what you can get, a matte or a gloss varnish. And after the base dries and I dry brush it and that dries, I'm gonna apply a varnish to this, and you get to do that via if you have a air sprayer, you could do it via that, which is super fast and efficient. Or if you don't, there are things that you can buy that lets you do that.
So you can do it by airbrush. Airbrush is the easiest and the safest. You can get a standard rattle can that you shake, but if you do that outside in the wrong weather, it can affect the varnish and mess up your miniature. Or you get ones that you can paint on, but they go on far thicker. Your best bet for that is an airbrush.
Yeah. And they have, I think I've done on previous streams before, shown how to do those with the airbrushes, and it works really, really well. So. As you can see, this is working out as the ground that I need, and I think a dry brush after this dries should put this bad boy to done. Dishes are done, man. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Any questions you have around this stuff, Bryan is an invaluable resource. And I think the thing about it, and this is where I give Bryan a huge shout out, is that while everyone was saying paint your minis, when I reached out to people who were good at painting minis, their responses were, I don't have time, just grab some paint and, give it your best shot and try it out. And you'll figure it out, right? And I need some type of structure. Bryan was kind of the only person who said, he said a kin, but he was like, here, I will give you the tools for you to kind of experiment with, and he was patient in teaching. So a huge shout out there for being very understanding for somebody who's like, yeah, I don't want to just fly off the seat of my pants and paint and see what happens. I actually need some structure.
and is now learning to fly off the seat of his pants.
Well, but with structure, right? I have a base. I have a base to go off of. I think a lot of people are just like, it's like this well-kept secret or some crap where, if you give up your secrets, you give up the world. It's like, no, you're actually just being a nice person, helping somebody.
Never tell anyone I'm a nice person. You ruin my reputation.
I mean, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid people are kind to each other.
Well, Bobby, I had to learn. I learned about 30 years ago, long before YouTube or being able to get teachers. So it was pick up what you could, where you could.
Yeah.
But yes, I would love to have had someone that could actually go through it with me.
Question, Canje, where is your pop-up palette? I have it. I have my pop-up palette over there. When I got up, I was like, oh, I should be using that. Janet actually got me one of those little pop-up palettes that once the paint dries, you just pop the top of it and it comes right off. It's a really handy tool to use. I was going to grab it for this session. It'll be on future ones. I just didn't grab it for this particular session. That's the reason why you don't see it presently, Janet, but it will be back it's still here. And it's not going anywhere. I've actually it will be in the future sessions. Let's see. When it came to glass scratch removal, my boss said, "Hey, figure this out. I only broke one window out of 100." Oh dear. Bryan, I know the feels of wanting an actual teacher to help guide you through a paint job. Yeah. Yeah, the figure it out, the sink or swim thing doesn't work for me. I don't learn that way, sorry.
And to be fair, I'm actually a qualified teacher, so
Someone pays you to teach? Jesus.
no, they don't pay me to teach anymore. They pay me to manage these days. We're not painting.
Oh, it's not, but not painting. There's only room for one teacher in that household.
Well, technically, I was a lecturer because she teaches at high school level. I was teaching at university. But
here we go.
we have different teaching qualifications because hers is designed for kids and mine is the university teacher training qualification.
And bada boom, base painted. Since that is actual paint and not speed paint, once that dries, there's actually a facing mechanic. You could see it barely. Let me see if I can. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the paint off this brush real quick. So if you look right here, you see there's this line. That's how the creature faces. There's one on the other side. So when this dries, I'm going to dry brush it. A little bit of a darker, earthier tone. I'm going to dry brush that, and then I'm going to grab some black paint, and I'm going to paint those two stripes to point the facing zone of the attack. But Vyraxen's done. I mean, I love him. I think he looks great. I love the wings. Everything looks pretty solid from my stake on how he looks. Those eyes, thank you, Janet, for the orange eyes. So that's set. The back scale here. I would like a little bit more of a wet look to the back scale. Is there something that gives a wet look when it dries?
Gloss.
What? Sorry, say that again.
Gloss.
Okay, so I'll do a gloss varnish on it then. So I'll focus my nozzle on gloss varnishing. I'll do a gloss varnish on the back to give it a shine there. And then I'll matte varnish the rest of the wings to keep it looking that way. So that way the gloss varnish will... So when you see the final picture, which I'll post on my Instagram when that's done, I'm actually going to narrow the spray, do a gloss varnish down the back, just for these scales to make them really shiny. And then matte varnish everything else on him. I may add some Uhu to the mouth, just a tad. I don't know yet, because I might not do that and save that for the beetle. Like, just make it all gooey and shiny, which is really cool. But yeah, there he is. So I went from that color of gray plastic to what you see here. And the speed paint's already dry, so it's just waiting for the regular paint. That's going to take some time unless I use a hair blower, a hair dryer, to get that going. But it should dry out before the day, and then tomorrow I could dry brush, paint it, and then post it. That is Vyraxen. So I think we're at 12:30. So I think we're gonna call it here. So let's go back to the intro. Scene intro. And Bryan's still painting. So once he switches back to his face. Oh, I'm 2 times in here. Why am I 2 times in here? That's weird.
Yeah, Bryan's just trying to get the hair finished. I'm painting individual hairs at the moment.
I'm curious as to why I'm on here twice. You see? Look, you see? Behind me? Let's see. What is that? I'm on here twice. It's not that one. I have no idea. There it is. So I was like, why am I on there twice? That's weird. 2 times better, exactly. So, all right. Then what is... If that's table face... Discord. This is me solving problems on the fly. 2. It's not that. I'm just clicking stuff off until it works. No, that's him. Okay, so that got rid of that. Anyway. Anyway. That's gonna be it for this paint through of what we had. So I hope you really enjoyed this painting session. We plan to have more going on. I will, let's see, next Thursday is the finale Aeons and Legacy, which means the following Thursday Vyraxen's ready. So next Saturday, I'll talk with Bryan and we'll work it out. But we'll be back for more painting. We'll be doing Primal, and he'll be painting his minis and going through other stuff. So it ought to be good. All right, everybody. Yeah, thank you to wonderful patrons who make this all possible. Thank you to YouTube subscribers. And if you're just hanging out, watching some paint while you're painting some minis, thank you for hanging out with us. So, yep. Talk to y'all later. We love you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Bye-bye.
Bye all.